And up they go. Welcome back.
I'm Morgan from the very unofficial travel guides. I've been making travel videos for over 15 years of popular and not so popular tourist destinations to give you a very honest, unofficial look at what it's like to be there. I've also written 2 books about crazy things that have happened to me while traveling around the world, like when I got pranked by David Letterman in a New York taxi cab and almost lost my job because of it. True story, it's in the book. If you like to read and want to give me a little extra help, check them out on Amazon now. It is Sunday, May 25th, 2025. I'm on the NCL Viva cruise ship in Alexandria, Egypt. We've been here since yesterday, and the all aboard time is 8:30 tonight on our second day. And there are 2 people here who are not technically late. They still have 8 minutes until all aboard time. But of all the places in the world that you would want to risk missing the cruise ship, really? Egypt? Just to catch you up a bit, last week I posted a video of our afternoon walking around the city of Alexandria, and while the area around the cruise port in some cities seems like a watered down, squeaky clean version of the local culture made specifically to appeal to tourists from the ships, the area around the cruise port in Alexandria seemed very authentic in a raw, foreign, and somewhat uncomfortable way. We saw people sleeping on the streets. We were followed by some very persistent people trying to sell us tours, drinks, and yes, even drugs. We saw animal cruelty, and altogether we just really felt out of place. Of course, Alexandria is a big city, and I'm sure there are some areas that feel very different than where we were, but I'm just saying, it's not like if you miss the ship here, you're just gonna sashay into the next Holiday Inn and ask for a room for the night while you try to figure out how to fly back to Athens to meet up with the ship in 2 days. The experience here would be very, very different than that, and that's why I found it hard to believe that these people would cut it so close. At least they seem to be somewhat in a hurry. And I'm pretty sure they are the last 2 passengers. There they come out of the terminal building. And like I said, they're not technically late. They have like 2 minutes left now. But, you know, I just have to ask myself, okay, did they lose track of time? Or did something happen that made it complicated for them to get back just a little bit earlier? Or did they just want to see all the sights and do everything they could with the time they had here? You can see how many crew, local and shipside, are waiting for them here. And up they go. Welcome back. You made it on time. Just on time. Yeah, and now, literally right after they got on board, they folded up the ramp and they're going to be pulling it in. Those are the Egyptian guards that were checking passports and immigration on board. They've just left the ship and now they're hustling to get this ramp inside, and off we go. They literally got back to the ship at exactly the minute of all on board time. And I just think, like I said, of all the places that you might want to cut it close, Egypt is not going to be one of them. And if you watch the other videos from this series, you'll know more about why I think that. But altogether, we've been having a great time here on this quite exotic itinerary on the NCL Viva in the Mediterranean. The cruise began with a pretty chaotic boarding process in Istanbul, Turkey. It was our first time cruising in the Haven, and we were surprised at the lack of organization, especially for us quote-unquote VIPs. The first port then was over in Kuşadası, Turkey, where we did some shopping, explored the area around the port, and treated ourselves to a nice cold beer and some snacks before walking back to the ship. The first of the Greek islands we visited was Mykonos, which looked like a beautiful Greek postcard, exactly like you would expect, but it was very crowded. At lunch, I had an embarrassing experience involving a fly and a flying wine glass. I talk more about that in that video too. The following day, we visited Rhodos, where I wish we had taken more time to explore the old city, and it's incidentally the very first port that I ever saw actual pier runners, which is people coming back to the ship after all aboard time. On the following day, we cruised through an early morning earthquake before anchoring outside of Fira on Santorini. There were also 4 ships in port that day, and it was unbearably crowded. I talk more about why I have removed this port from my list of favorites in that video. And then we had our first day in Egypt, going to Cairo, Giza, and the pyramids, which led up to this day in Alexandria and these final moments on the continent of Africa before sailing back to Athens. Make sure you check my library for more about all of that. And in the upcoming videos here on the Very Unofficial Travel Guides, I'm going to show you why they wouldn't let us leave the ship on the final day, and how, when they finally did let us leave, we used the public transportation to get into the city in Athens for lunch and then to the airport for our flight home. So if any of that interests you, make sure you subscribe and check back soon. Bye.